What's happening, and welcome to the 24th floor on this Thursday afternoon. Football season nearly here. We're almost there, y'all. The American Media Days today in Charlotte. They had a nice little rebrand. Jolin Dillon there to keep an eye on Tigers football. He will join us and give us his 2 cents on the Tigers, as will an Olympian. Quincy Wilson, the 17-year-old phenom, sits down with us one-on-one in an exclusive to talk about his sensational Ed Murphy Classic a couple weeks ago. The 24th floor starts right now. Joining me on the show today, Tigers beat writer for the Memphis Commercial Appeal, friend of the show. It is my guy, Jonah Dillon, out there in Charlotte. Jonah, how's the Queen City treating you, man?
Pretty good so far. I didn't realize that I was going up against an Olympian on this show. I feel like you kind of set me up here. You kind of set me up on the show as a guest. Like, it's going to be tough for me to rise to that level. I don't know if I can get there.
Hey man, you're an Olympian in my eyes because you are just a giant when it comes to your writing. You heard me mess it up already in the hello. You know, the Americans rebranded. They're no longer the AAC. How many times have you slipped up on that so far?
It was on Monday because we had to. We'll get into it. All the stories about the Big 12, which meant you had to write about what conference Memphis is in now, which meant I had to remember that the conference that Memphis was in on Monday morning was different than the one that they were in on Sunday night in terms of branding and the official name, right? So Athletic was removed, no longer the AAC, American Conference. We're gonna try to get used to it. We're gonna try. I got it there. We'll see how many more times.
I'm reading the script and I'm like, I knew I was going to do it. I forgot to fix the script. Let's jump into the big idea for today because it is the Americans Media Days. The Tigers remain in the newly branded American Conference after it was revealed they were trying to buy their way out and head to the Big 12. Memphis finished 11-2 last season with a second straight bowl win over a Big 12 opponent, but they will do so now in the post-Seth Hennigan era. Brendan Lewis, transfer from Nevada, figures to be the starting QB. Jonah, is the QB situation or the Big 12 debacle going to be the biggest question that Ryan Silverfield will get on Friday?
I feel like it'll be the Big 12 stuff. And to be fair, and I think a lot of that'll kind of be the main discussion point throughout American Media Days, like throughout everyone, and Tim Pernetti, the commissioner, and everything like that. To be fair, if you're a football coach, you only have so much control over this stuff, right? So we can ask coaches from other teams. We can ask Ryan Silverfield about conference affiliation stuff. You know, he's been asked about it many times in the past because it's not like Memphis and conference realignment is a new thing. And you hear the same stuff and you hear similar stuff from most coaches, right? Like, you know, I'm here to play football and we're going to play against whoever's in front of us, stuff like that. And then from, like you said, from a football perspective, I think the quarterback stuff, it's definitely the biggest storyline. It feels like it's a little settled. It doesn't feel like it's like a quarterback competition like some teams have going into the summer. It feels like it's in a pretty good place in terms of where it's settled. But yeah, that'll be a talking point, I think. And then where this conference stacks up, where does Memphis stack up kind of in the hierarchy of this conference going into the football season?
In your eyes, where do you find that they do stack up? I mean, we were expecting them as an expectation level to be either first, second, third, somewhere in that conversation for the conference championship game. Is that a fair place to put them again? And really, I mean, I feel like that has to be the expectation for Memphis if they think they can hop around and get into the Big 12, which has been kind of an interesting conversation because when you look at how they stack up against Big 12 teams all time, they got a winning record. And so you would think domination in the American is the expectation?
Yeah, I think going to this season, obviously, like you said, losing Seth Hennigan, losing a lot of guys, it's been kind of they've had to revamp the entire roster. Last week, I would have said you can make a case for a couple different teams, and I still think you can, but it feels to me like with Tulane getting Jake Retzlaff as their quarterback, and the expectation would be that he's going to be their starting quarterback. It feels like Tulane is probably should be considered the favorite. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win it, right? Memphis was considered the favorite last season and didn't win the conference, didn't make the conference title game. It feels like Tulane is in a pretty good spot, even with all the guys that they lost last year. Obviously, their starting quarterback, starting running back. Feels like they, on defense and really in the trenches, that's going to be a tough team to beat, and they've been consistently good, and John Summerall has had success everywhere he's been. So I think Tulane probably is the favorite. After that, there's a lot of teams that you can make a case for, and Memphis is up there because even though they've lost all that talent from last year, they brought in probably the strongest transfer class, right, in the conference. I would say they probably have the best roster in the conference and have every opportunity to be one of the best teams, the best team in the conference, and to kind of expand on what they've done over the past couple of years, which has been really successful, winning a lot of games, right? Double-digit wins 2 years in a row, but have not reached the conference title game. That's obviously the next step.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird space for them to be in, for them to constantly have won 10, 11 games. You get in a bowl game against a Power 4 opponent, and it still feels like you didn't quite accomplish really what it is you set out to accomplish, which is, of course, the championship, or the American Championship game and the college football play. Got me again, the college football playoff. But you are still having very successful seasons. Now, let's pivot quickly to the quarterback situation, because there is a lot made of bringing in the freshman, right? And you decide more or less that you're going to bring in Brendan Lewis to be your starting quarterback. And he had 2,200 yards passing, 775 yards rushing at Nevada a year ago. As Ryan Silverfield leans on him, how much leash do you think he has? Because Silverfield's in a situation where the Tigers really can't afford to take a step back.
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. It'll depend on how they do in non-conference play. I think I'll have a good amount because of the experience. That's the thing that we've heard pretty much every time we've asked coaches about the quarterback situation and the competition is what's the difference? And the difference is Brandon Lewis has 35 starts as a college quarterback and everybody else combined has 0. They have 1 snap in college combined, everybody else, right? So people are really excited about AJ Hill and his future and certainly still are, right? Just it's hard to come in as a true freshman and start anywhere, especially when you're up against someone who has that kind of experience. I think you're going to see a different offense this year from Memphis than you saw the past couple of years because Brendan Lewis is a different kind of quarterback to Seth Hennigan. And so I think if you're going to make an offense kind of built around a certain quarterback and his skill set, that means that you're willing to give him some leash, right? You're not going to just pull the rug out right away because you're developing this entire offensive system for a specific quarterback and what he can do. And what Brandon Lewis can do is run the ball. And so he's going to be a dual threat quarterback, and this offense is going to be different. It's going to have a lot more design runs, RPOs, I think a lot of side-to-side movement with some of the guys they've got at the skill positions. And so when you do those types of things, that leads to a quarterback that you believe in and that you feel like has some leash going forward this season.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because it seems like you're going to have a dual threat QB, somebody who can move with his legs. We know that Tim Cramsey is a guy who can get really creative. And I mean, Seth Hennigan was, I wouldn't say the most athletic quarterback. He did have some ability to move, and I think he would kind of surprise you a little bit when he got outside of the pocket and got some open space. But I would be really excited to see what a Tim Cramsey can do on the offensive side of the football with the weapons that he has available to him. And it's going to be quite a departure from what we've seen in the past because, quite honestly, a lot of those guys did go and try to test the NFL waters. You're talking about Mario Anderson, who was a dynamite running back after you brought in a Blake Watson the year before, and now you're kind of figuring out what does that running back room look like. You're trying to figure out what the wide receiver looks like as they've lost Rock Taylor and all those guys that were in that room that were very speedy, right? But it seems like speed is still kind of going to be the name of the game. What do you think about the defensive side of the ball as well?
Yeah, defensively, it's sort of the same story in terms of roster turnover, right? You've got William Whitlow Jr. coming back as a defensive end. He was first team all AAC last year. It was still the AAC, so I think that still counts. I'm willing to grandfather that one in, but first team all conference, and he comes back as kind of the anchor of that defense. Cortland Marsh, who fans saw at the end of the season, he was injured, but he came back, played really well the past couple of games at safety. Those are the two guys who started games who are returning. Aside from that, it's going to be all transfers. Now, they've brought in, especially a linebacker. I mean, you look at the productivity of the guys they brought in, and there's a lot of talent in that room and already guys who are being picked, Everett Rousseau, Sam Brumfield, to be all conference guys. And I think that's still going to be the strength of the team as a linebacker room, even though it's a lot of new faces. It's almost all new faces. You're not going to have Chandler Martin anymore to kind of lean on at the heart of that defense. But there's going to be a lot of talent there. That's a big story is how does it all come together? Because it's one thing to bring in talent. It's one thing to bring in proven productivity from other places, but you've got to get it to mesh. And so that's the story kind of going into this summer is how do they get all these guys to mesh on defense? And then what does the pecking order look like at some of these positions with spots up for grabs?
Certainly, and we'll see what the Tigers can do. Training camp will start here in a couple of weeks. We got the American Media Days. That'll be today and Friday, and Brendan Lewis and William Whitlow will be the player representatives for that. Let's kind of switch gears really quickly. Interesting story that came out earlier this week. The Memphis Showboats are reportedly one of the 4 teams that will be leaving their respective cities and headed to one of 4 cities in Idaho, Kentucky, Ohio, and Florida. We got a statement from the UFL that says they're in the planning stages for next season and beyond, and at this point they don't have anything to report on any, quote, unauthorized speculation. So maybe the Showboats aren't leaving, but it certainly seems like if you are a Memphian, you're not necessarily mourning a loss of the Showboats. Jonah, as you've been taking this story in, and what's kind of been your thoughts on how this has all unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be shocking, right? We've been at those games. We were at the game, the last game of the season, and there's not a lot of people in the stands. There never have been for the Showboats in this iteration, and really for most of the spring football leagues that have tried to give it a go in Memphis. It still seems like it's up in the air. Like even with that report, you're seeing some stuff out of Boise suggesting that it's not going to happen, or at least not going to happen here. Birmingham. You're seeing a lot of people pushing back on it. The mayor of Birmingham came out and said they're still working, trying to figure out what's going on and to keep that team there. And so I think there's a lot still up in the air. And the UFL has kind of operated year to year, right? Even with the merger only a couple of years ago. So it's hard to know what the long-term planning is. But look, the Showboats have been bottom of the league in attendance. They've been bottom of the league in terms of on-field product. And like you said, it's not like people in Memphis are super invested in this team. And there's a lot of reasons why. And there's kind of unpack that. There's been a lot of issues for their entire tenure. But yeah, I don't think it would be surprising either way to see this play out the way that it's been reported.
It just doesn't seem like spring football is really something that's ever truly going to catch on, whether it's in Memphis or really in any other city. And don't get me wrong, they definitely had some bright spots. St. Louis, the Battlehawks are certainly one team that has kind of latched on to their team. And I think they're a unique case too, right? We know what happened with the Rams and them moving out of that city, and it seems like they have really fallen in love with the Battlehawks. Michigan's kind of an interesting case. They're one of the teams that are supposedly moving out, but they also are the team that had a 40% bump in their attendance this past season. But it seems like that may be more of the financials with Ford Field and being able to play on that field. And the whole thing just feels very strange to me. It feels like the UFL might be in a little bit of a desperation mode, and these reports, these rumors, I guess is what we can call them right now, substantiate some of the instability that it feels like the league has.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I said, it's kind of year to year stuff. Obviously, the teams not being in local markets, I think, is really hurt in specific places. Memphis certainly, I think, would benefit from the team being here. And other markets too, obviously. So I think there's just a lot with this league that's feels like cobbled together, and also just some stuff works in some places, it doesn't work in other places, and we've seen this kind of unilateral approach. So I don't know. We'll see. Hey, maybe they make changes and things turn around. You never know.
Well, one thing we do know is that Jonah Dillon will be on the case. He'll be on the field, and he'll keep you informed at all times. Jonah, appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, coming up, we hit the track with the Olympian and 17-year-old phenom Quincy Wilson. He gives us all the insight to his historic run at the Memphis Ed Murphy Classic just a couple weeks ago. Stick around.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24+. The 24+ TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. The storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back. 2 weeks ago, the Ed Murphy Classic rolled into town, and so did Quincy Wilson. The 17-year-old gold medal Olympian blew everyone away with a dominant 400-meter run that set an under 18 record. He sat down with me exclusively about that moment and everything that's come since his amazing Olympic summer last year. Hanging out with Quincy Wilson, the 17-year-old phenom, U.S. Olympian gold medalist. First off, a practice, you're looking fresh, Quincy. Don't look like you had practice. How you feeling, man?
No, I feel good. I feel good. Get my body prepared. Had a great weekend last weekend. Well, now I think it's 2 weekends ago. So just getting ready for next week, which is USA World Championship trials. So just getting ready for that, preparing my body and everything.
All right, so you're looking a little to the future. I'm going to go to the past just
Of
a
course.
hair. You know, you helped the U.S. qualify for the final in the Olympics a year ago. You
Right.
win a gold medal for that effort. But then it just seems like you just kept getting better. How much better are you this year, this year, than you were last year?
Well, I think I'm mentally and physically better than what I was last year, and I think that was the goal coming into this season. I think it's great, honestly, to see my progression in from the last couple of years, from eighth grade all the way up to I am now. But from last year to now, you can obviously see my 400 time has dropped, and my 400 splits as well have dropped. So I feel like I've gotten better overall, mentally and physically, which has helped my times.
You got to come into town for the Ed Murphy Classic here in Memphis, lit the whole thing up, right? First, what did you kind of think about your time in Memphis, getting a chance to see the city and all that kind of stuff?
Right. No, I thought Memphis was a great environment. First time in Memphis. So it was very new. I got to eat at the BB King's restaurant with my family. It was nice hearing it. And then also that night they were having the pole vault in the like in Beale Street. I think that's what it's called. And so I'm super glad I got to do that and experience that with my family. But overall, Memphis was a great trip.
For sure, and you made it a great trip. You run that, you're running that 400, personal best 44.1 seconds,
Right.
USA and world under 18 record, best time in Tennessee. When you hear kind of all those accolades that went along with running that race, what comes to mind? And then separately, like, what do you remember about running that race?
I feel like all my hard work goes into that race. I feel like dedication, and like my time that I spent, you know, before all the races, before in the back scenes, and my coaches and my family and what they poured into me to get the time that I ran that weekend. I knew it was in me, but I just knew when was it going to. And I think the environment of the Ed Murphy Classic pulled it out of me. Just going into the race and just having a lot of supporters there was a great thing for me. And what I remember that from that race, honestly, when I'm running the 400, I don't remember anything, but I do remember getting in the blocks, and I remember hearing a guy say, "You can do this, Quincy," and then that held in my mind through the whole race. And coming down that last stretch is always going to be difficult, but I pulled out, and just knowing that the fans were cheering me on, it was a great thing to help me at the Ed Murphy Classic.
So, I mean, the thing about the Ed Murphy and the way they had really advertised it was always going to
Right,
be about, Sydney McLaughlin-Laveroni coming.
right,
That was kind of your headliner, right? And she gets the late scratch, and
right,
I'm in the crowd, right, and talking to people, and you can kind of hear people mumbling. There's a sense of disappointment,
right,
right? But then you come in and you're running the 400. Did you have any kind of like, I gotta put on a show here for the folks that were here in Memphis?
right.
And did you feel like you kind of stole the show, I guess, after all that happened?
Right. Honestly, I didn't even know. I didn't know anything that had happened. I was stayed in my lane and stayed focused on what I had to do that weekend. I really wasn't looking at social media, anything like that. So I didn't know until after the race where I stayed to watch the 400s. But honestly, I think I did very well just staying in my own lane, and I didn't really know I had to put on a show. I just had to know I had to do me, because honestly, I didn't know anything about the scratch or other people not competing. I was focused on my own lane and my own race.
Yeah, there's that good coaching speak right there, right? The athletes always say, I'm working on me. I'm not worried
Right.
about anybody else. You got to block out the
Right.
noise, and I respect that. So much has happened for you really so quickly. You're 17 years old. Obviously, we know about what happened with the Olympics. Just what's been
Right.
the best part of the last couple of years for you and kind of getting to this moment?
Experiencing new things, experiencing new places. When I go run, I think it's the coolest to see the different cities and see how these are a lot of people different hometowns and comparing it to mine because growing up I lived all on the East Coast and just seeing these states and I have a water bottle now that I can check off each time I run in a different state and so I think it's super cool and I hope by the end of my career I can have all the states marked off. But Tennessee was my first one. That was my first race in Tennessee, and so I'm super glad that I could do it there. And like you said, put on a show for everyone that was there at the track meet. So I think it was really good, and I think just honestly, just going out there and running and giving my best thing over the last couple years has just been the best because I can't say there's a favorite race. I can't say it's a favorite moment, but because it all have been great because I've gotten around the track and finished. And regardless if it's a win, it's a loss, I think it's just great that I can go out there, showcase my talents, and um, yeah, basically I can show what my talents have done and see what my hard work has done. So I don't really have a favorite moment on the track these last years.
First race in Tennessee, and all you did is set an under 18 record, right? Like no big deal.
Right,
As you kind of talked about it when we first began talking about the prep for the track and field, like at nationals in Oregon. What has that prep looked like, and
right.
what's still left for you to do before you kind of show up in Eugene?
Um, like honestly, I feel like all the work is due. All the work is in. I feel like the last couple of weeks I've been just staying consistent. Whatever my coach tells me, whatever he comes to practice and says do. But the only thing that's really left is a haircut. I need a haircut. I need to pack my bags, and I think I'm ready to go from where I'm at right now.
For sure. With all the success that has come and all the change, I'm sure that's
Right.
come as well. How do you stay you? How does Quincy remain Quincy?
I mean, if I don't remain Quincy, I probably won't run the same times that I do. Talking to God and just knowing that having that support system. When I get off track, they pull me back to the center space, and I think that's great having my family around me and my friends around me to know if something's not Quincy, they'll let me know. Everyone, they're not gonna beat around the bush. They'll let me know.
So I was listening to the Ready Set Go podcast
Right,
with Justin Gatlin yesterday,
mm,
and he had a lot to say about you.
right,
I'm kind of read a little bit of it. He says, "I hope that we get the chance to see you not only make the team, talking about the 4x400, but
right,
also be a part of the relay as well, and that would
right,
be cool." What does it mean for an Olympian like Justin Gatlin, somebody who has been at the pinnacle of you guys' sport, to say
right,
something like that about you? And he also talks about like the haters that you get
right, right,
for not running as fast as you could
right,
when you are 17 years old and doing what you've
right.
done.
Honestly, Justin Gatlin, he's ever since I started running and I've been on the spotlight, he's always pulled me in as someone he would always like mentor. He mentors me basically, just with the things that he says. Any a little advice helps, and he always talks good and he's always giving me positive messages and he's done that for a lot of other kids and so he's poured into my life, watching him growing up. I remember it was my first junior Olympics and I watched him go against Usain Bolt and I told my mom I want to be like him one day. And so I remember that was my first person from the United States that I watched track and field to ever watch because I was turning the TV on and it was the Olympics when I was at the junior Olympics. Yeah.
All right, so what's the next thing for you before you kind of go back? What's got to happen now?
Um Honestly, I can't really tell you. I can't really tell you honestly. I just have to see how it plays out.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Quincy Wilson, the Olympian who set Memphis on fire with his under 18 record at the Ed Murphy Classic. We appreciate you giving us your time and wishing you the best of
Thank
luck.
you. No, thank you.
Coming up, we get into the first week of training camp for the Tennessee Titans and take one more look at the Big 12 proposal that Memphis put together. That's coming up next.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
some severe thunderstorms, and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
It's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
Memphis Athletics has not been shy about their desire to get out of the American, and recent reports say they were plenty willing to spend a pretty penny to do it. A report from Yahoo Sports says that Memphis was prepared to offer $200 million to essentially buy their way into the Big 12 conference. The school would also not take any TV revenue from the Big 12 over the next 5 years. They'd add sponsorships like FedEx in excess of $150 million over 5 years from corporate partners, and allow itself to be expelled from the league in 5 years. If their value to the Big 12 was not proven, the proposal went before the Big 12's presidents, but did not have enough support to pass. In a statement, the university said that they are aware of the recent conversations regarding our potential inclusion in the Big 12. While those discussions did not ultimately move in our favor, our university and Memphis Athletics are stronger than ever, and we look forward to continuing to strengthen our position nationally. Earlier this week, the university placed the final steel beam in the new tower for the stadium renovations and made it clear the future is still bright.
I think this project to me stands for what Memphis, the city stands for, what the university stands for, and the athletic department. Big, bold, and a bright future. And I think this tower behind me illuminates that.
Girlfriend and took away her ability to call for help, leaving her fearing for her life. According to police, the victim told investigators that she and the 22-year-old Tigers guard were arguing when he allegedly pushed her, struck her in the face, and choked her, then broke her phone. Parker is charged with aggravated assault and vandalism. His arraignment was on Monday. He did not enter a plea, but did post bond at $75,000. He has a bond hearing again on July 29th. His lawyer says they plan to fight the charges that they have text videos that can help prove his innocence. Parker transferred to Memphis from McNeese State this offseason. Wednesday marked the first day of camp for the Tennessee Titans and the official start of the Cam Ward era. Ward, of course, the #1 overall pick and the de facto QB1. He won't have former second-round pick Will Levis breathing down his neck since Levis opted for season-ending shoulder surgery. Ward will be working on chemistry with Calvin Ridley, the de facto wide receiver one, but it already looks like the power of friendship alive and well between the QB and receiver.
That man's a gazelle. Like, he doesn't get tired. He's explosive off the ball. It's the reason why he's a top 5 receiver in the league. And me having him for my first year, like, he's gonna get the ball. So is our other receivers. So, I'm excited to have Rid by my side.
In sad news, wrestling legend Hulk Hogan has died. WWE confirmed it today. He was 71 years old. Police say Hogan went into cardiac arrest at his home in Clearwater, Florida this morning. He was rushed to the hospital but did not make it. His manager says he was surrounded by family. Hogan was one of the biggest names in wrestling with his bandanas, his mustache, and his catchphrases. He helped make wrestling huge in the 80s. Even after retiring, he stayed involved with WWE and was recently working on a new wrestling league to help train young talent. Well, coming up, Ja Morant's new tour kicks off in New York City with some serious shoe heat, color swaps, big gifts, and a bold new Ja 3. Stay with us.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24+. The 24+ TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. The storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
Best thing I saw this week, Ja Morant's Make Them Watch tour officially underway. The first stop is New York City, and Morant with the shoe swap with the New York Liberty's Sabrina Ionescu. Morant showing off tones of colorways with the new Ja 3. Even gifted Natasha Cloud a pair, the Max Volumes in pink and purple, which she rocked in a Liberty win over the Fever. Nike going all in on the Morant hype train, and the Ja 3s could be the best signature shoe that Ja has had yet. That's all I got for you on the show today. Thanks to Jonah Dillon and Quincy Wilson for their time. Thank you to Sydney Jones and Richard Denson for making things go behind the scenes. We will be back next week. Until then, I'll see you later.